Good morning, friends, and welcome back, and welcome to my 300th YouTube video. 300 videos. It's taken a few years to get there. Thank you so much for all of you who have subscribed, who continue to subscribe, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. I have a Facebook page called Upcycle with Decoupage, and if you go over to that page and like and follow the page, you'll be notified every week when I put a new video out. And for today's video, I got this from the thrift store, and I wanted to show you how we can paint a dark background even when we're using napkins. Now, this did not look like this when I bought it. Here's how it looked. And I have already painted it with chalk paint. I mean, I thought that I was recording my voice as I filmed. I did write some little instructions down, so I'll just kind of zip through that. And now I'll show you a little bit of how I painted it and decoupaged it, and then I'll show you how we can get to the dark background. wrote down, do not throw this out, for this is the piece of copy paper that we use to cut the napkin with. And again, this repositionable glue stick is very important in this step right here. I added a couple of coats of decoupage glue on here and let it dry. I used the napkin decoupage glue. Don't forget, I have links below the videos where you can go right over and purchase the products. You can even just click on the links and read about them, because I know if you're watching from another country, you probably can't order through my site, or the shipping may be expensive, but you'll know where to get it in your area. So here is what I'm going to do with this piece. This is the copy paper, and because we cut out the exact same shape, I'm going to put it back over this area where I decoupaged. Now this is not a smooth surface, so I am going to cut this right down the center, or almost the center. You probably won't have to do this. If you're working on a flat surface, you can just lay this right, whoops, my light is falling. You can lay this right down over your surface as long as you cover the part that you decoupaged. Obviously, I painted this whole thing white because the napkin needs a very light background in order to stand out. And I painted it with chalk paint because chalk paint will stick to metal, unlike acrylic paint, which will peel away. So you want to use the chalk paint. It also gives it a nice surface for everything to grab onto, like this next coat of paint that we're going to put on it. So I'm going to cut this down the center. And I'm going to take this glue stick, the repositionable glue stick, and I'm going to place this over the decoupage section, and I want to get it as exact as I can. So I'm putting the glue on the back, and that's another reason you wanted a couple of coats of decoupage glue on this. You want to make sure that your napkin cannot pull up. Even though you can remove this, that's the idea of it being repositionable. You want to make sure this doesn't pull your napkin up. So I am going to fit this right over where I cut it out. I found that what is easier is to work in sections, because on a rounded surface like this, you can see this part's popping up, this part's popping up. So I'm going to take my paint, and I am using a metallic paint. Look at this beautiful metallic paint. I put some links to these metallic paints on my last video, and someone wrote me and said they were already sold out. So I'll try to add some more, and hopefully you guys will be able to get them. Now I prefer right around these edges to use a smaller paintbrush just around these edges. And I'm going to brush the paint away from where I'm working so that it doesn't, if I brush this way, it will get under that paper. And I'm just going to begin to paint. And now, you could do this one of two ways. You can either use a pouncer brush and go all around this area now, because that will smooth this paint out, or you can use a small roller brush. So I'm going to use my small roller brush, and when I've done this in the past and just tried to use the roller brush from the beginning, when I went back and forth, it got under that paper, so that's why I didn't just do this right off the bat. So I am going to continue to do this one section. I'm just going to paint this one section, and I'm going to let it dry. And then I'm going to go over to the other side and start on that side following the same steps. And then I'll do the same thing on the bottom. If you get a little some of the paint where you don't want it, you can use that 91% alcohol on one of these counter wipes and just remove it. I am going to be adding a second coat of this paint once the first coat dries. And I'm going to have to let sections of this dry at a time. So right now I'll finish this top half and I'm going to let it dry. And you know what? I put this in my convection oven and I put it up to 175 degrees on convection, which just means that it's hot, but there's also a nice breeze blowing around here. It was about a good 40 minutes until I was ready to apply this second coat of paint. So what I'll do is finish this top half, put it in the oven to dry, and once it's dry, I'll come back and use the stencil on the bottom half. You don't need to see all of that. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'll just place the stencil over here so that I'm able to make a much nicer finish here. Okay, now that I have this painted, one thing that I want to do to just add one more design element to this, I'm going to take a very flexible craft toothbrush, and this is the only thing that I use this for, and I am going to splatter, hopefully what looks like a little bit of snow on there. It will. And you want to take your brush and I'm going to dip it in the surface of this metallic cream, or I'm sorry, white paint, same color that I painted the handle and the spout with. And I'm going to flick some off first so that there's just a little left on there. And now I'm going to flick this on the surface. Let's see if you can see this. So still using the metallic so you can still see a bit of that glistening. And you can go as heavy or as light as you like with this. Those of you who know me know that I have got to add some glitter to this. So what I'm going to do, by the way, a little trick that you may or may not know, if you use a combination of coarse glitter and fine glitter, it will give your piece even more depth. So I'm going to use the triple thick. I'm going to paint it on, and while it's wet, you have to make sure that you're using a bristle brush to apply the triple thick. You cannot use a sponge brush. And as I complete each side, I will be applying the glitter. So that is how you paint a darker background when you're using napkins. You probably know that if you put a napkin over the dark surface to begin with, it will fade the napkin right out so that you won't even be able to see it. And that is our video for the week, my friends. Thank you so much for subscribing. Really helps us out over here when you subscribe. And I will see you guys next week with another video. Don't forget to check me out on Facebook, Upcycle with Decoupage. The links are below if you want to check out some of these products or purchase the products. All right, guys? All right, hope you like this. I'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye-bye.